All right. Peace and wellness, family. I hope that y'all are well and happy and whole and all that good stuff. I'm like, let me make sure my volume is down everywhere so we don't get no feedback. I was like, I hope that y'all are well. It's good seeing y'all. I see y'all in the chat, butterflies in the sky. And yes, Chase, the times are tentative. That's a little TWC joke we have. I always release a tentative schedule, and I'll put the times are subject to change. The schedule is tentative. Okay. But shout out to the tribe. I see y'all butterflies in the sky. Okay. Much love and light and wellness and joy as always. Family, the intention for this video is for us to discuss our upcoming new moon in Libra, which will be making a quick shift to Scorpio. We are going to discuss the meaning of this planetary alignment. We'll talk about how it may impact our energy, and we are going to identify some practices that we can implement to utilize all of this energy for our wellness. Now, I have to say, we are having a conversation in the community, honey. I put a little write-up in the chat, because I think it may have been the last full moon video. I ended that video by making a few jokes about the Sulan identification, and then I did a live exclusively with the wellness community, and I talked about my thoughts and feelings about the Sulan identity. And I was like, hey, y'all need to keep up with the journey of this identity, right? I told the community that. I said, keep up with the journey, because this is it again. Like, at one point, Black people were identifying as Negro, then colored, then Black and African American. And the Black identity in America has evolved in title over time. You have FBA, you have ADOS, et cetera, et cetera. So Sulan has come on the scene, and I told the tribe, I said, pay attention to how the journey of this identity unfolds, right? It's unfolding. The journey is unfolding, and where we are now when it comes to the journey of the Sulan identity is quite interesting. Yes, Carol said this is a big debate. Baby, I'm like, I'm wow where it is. And I put a conversation, or I put like a little write-up in the Wellness Community group chat about this, because I'm like, wow, I just think it's quite interesting. So after this, y'all, we might do a quick little live, because I really want to hear y'all thoughts and feels about where this journey is. And if you are not in the wellness community, let me just say what I've discovered where the journey of the Sulan identity is right now is that Sulan people are saying that essentially the goal is to separate from the Pan-African movement, to stop the Pan-African movement because it's a scam. It's to distinguish Black Americans from the rest of the Black diaspora. And anybody who is not Black American, they are identifying as tethers. Tethers. And I want to know y'all thoughts and feels about this. I've been doing my research. I'm like, wait, how did we get here? What is happening? Like, I've been doing my research, been watching a few videos on it, and I just think the whole journey is interesting. Shout out to the sister Mona Leo who made the song Sexy Sulan, Black American Princess. She went on the Breakfast Club recently and she did an interview, and she was just saying, like, she was explaining what Sulan means to her. And she was saying it is specifically for Black Americans. It's a Black American identity, but she was expressing that she has love for the entire Black diaspora. So she said in the music video, that's why she was holding up the Black American Heritage flag. And in the back of her, she had like flags from different countries in the diaspora. She had the Haitian flag, Jamaican flag, Trinidadian flag, etc. So she was saying she's centering Black Americans as a Sulan woman, but she has love for the diaspora. They said that she's off code. So I said, well, what is the Sulan code? I'm shocked at where we are. I'm surprised at where the journey is. I had no idea. I honestly, y'all, spoiler alert of my thoughts and feels wellness community, I didn't know it was going to evolve into this, where it's like anti-Pan-African. It's anti anybody who's not Black American. They are tethers. And that I had no idea that this is where it was going to evolve into. I'm like, wow. And I just have a lot of questions, right? Because what does that mean about hoodoo for Sulan people, right? Because hoodoo is a combination of African and indigenous practices. What does that mean about hoodoo? Do y'all not practice hoodoo? Is there no spiritual practice in alignment? Because if you are separating yourself from Africa and the other Black diaspora, then that means that you aren't using any practices from Africa, right? Or you aren't using any practices from the diaspora, right? So if you're like, so are you not practicing hoodoo? Can you not be Sulan and practice hoodoo or root work? What does that mean, right? Like, can Sulan people not be initiated into ATRs and ADTRs? Can they not be Lukumi, Santaria, Condoble, Isheshe, Voodoo, Voodoon? Can they like, what does that mean, right? And then what about, y'all, there's so many questions. Wellness community, we're going to talk about this after we finish this. Okay, we're going to have this conversation because I'm like, what are we doing here? What are Black folk doing with this? How did we get here? But you know what's interesting is that this whole journey is in full alignment with our new moon in Libra that's making this quick shift to Scorpio. And I say that because, as we know, new moons are all about setting intentions and manifesting. And Libra is a cardinal air sign ruled by Venus. And Venus is our planet of love, relationships, beauty, values, and abundance, right? And I think that this whole conversation is in full alignment with that Venus energy, with that Libra energy. Because when we're talking about Libra energy, we're talking about the energy of being willing to go with the flow, being open, and kind of like being up in the air in a sense. Something we talked about before, and I done told y'all, anytime I bring up one sign, right? Like a Libra or a Gemini or something, I can say all the positive things, and somebody in the chat gonna be like, them lying Libras. I can't stand a Libra. They so indecisive, but that's Libra energy. Libra energy is about things being up in the air. Libra energy is about kind of struggling with making like stern decisions, right? And kind of, in a sense, it feels like they're indecisive, but really it's kind of like we're open to all things. And what that energy of like, what is happening? What is going on? Where are we going with this? That is Libra energy. But what I love so much about Libras is that they're all about harmony and balance, right? Very big in justice work. So usually that feeling of things kind of being up in the air, kind of just like floating and wondering what's going on, it's usually the source of trying to figure out and make a decision and finalize the what is in a way that is fair and balanced, right? When we have a new moon in Libra, it offers us the opportunity to really decide what do we want and manifest what we want in the areas of finances, money, and the areas of love and relationship, assess who we are and where we are in our personal code of ethics and values, right? And also understanding what is our relationship with the divine universal flow. Now, I have to say that this new moon in Libra peaks on October 21st at 8:24 a.m. Eastern time, but it'll make a quick shift into Scorpio at, I believe, 11:42 a.m. Eastern time. So only about 3 hours will this new moon peak in Libra before shifting to Scorpio. And Scorpio is a fixed water sign that's ruled by Mars, our planet of action, and Pluto, which is our planet of transformation, revolution, right? Now, it's also, as well as power. The interesting thing about that quick shift is that we will feel the effects of both energies, of both Libra and Scorpio. So it will be easy. Again, Libra is usually up in the air, trying to decide, trying to make a decision, trying to find balance and harmony, right? And Scorpio is like, look, we're all about going with the divine flow, but Scorpio is that very fixed energy. We are deciding. We're making it happen. We're getting it done, right? Scorpios are known for passion, pleasure, sensuality, which complements that Libra energy because Libra, again, being ruled by Venus, is all about love, relationships, as well as sensuality. So don't be surprised if you find yourself feeling very passionate, very sensual, and desiring deep intimacy with this Libra energy. Don't be surprised if you find yourself wanting to build a more intimate relationship with self as well as with people that you are in deep connection with, in partnership with. Don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of stumbling into very deep, profound conversations that really help you decide how you feel and who you are. They really help you clarify your values, morals, ethics in alignment with that Libra energy. That Scorpio energy is going to elevate all of our abilities to decide. Another thing that's important about both Libra and Scorpio is that they are both big and heavy in creative energy, artistic energy. So don't be surprised if you find yourself naturally drawn to the arts right now. You find yourself naturally having the desire to not just watch and engage with the arts, but really analyze the arts, right? And this is going to be good because when it comes to manifesting your financial abundance, manifesting wealth, which is in alignment with that Libra energy in the new moon, it will be easy for you to decide how to elevate that manifestation and actually make it happen because you're going to be analyzing the arts. You're going to be analyzing things like films, musicals, music, dance, the art of sports, right? The arts of athletics, yoga, things like that. And asking yourself, how are they doing this, right? How are they making this happen? How did they edit that? How did they manifest that? How did they write that? How did they format that? And analyzing how the art manifested and what all went into that and applying that into how you practice your divine purpose is what will help you elevate in your purpose and manifest more divine flow in your finances. Okay. Now we have to keep in mind that this new moon in Libra will peak on the 21st, but the shadow period starts today. It starts today and it will last until the 24th. So, all throughout this time, you will feel this energy. But again, I can't acknowledge enough that this energy is shifty. Why? Because we have that quick shift from Libra to Scorpio on the peak day. So starting today and moving to the 21st, that Libra energy is going to be elevated because that's where our moon and sun is. So our Libra energy will be elevated. The ability to manifest divine financial flow, the ability to manifest elevated love energy and sensuality and passion and pleasure, the ability to be able to kind of think over and mull over your code of ethics and values, the ability to be able to decide, how am I going to elevate in my purpose so that I can manifest the higher divine flow of finances? How am I going to elevate in my purpose so that I can manifest increased intimacy and sensuality? All of these decisions of how will really show up after the peak day when we are in that Scorpio energy. Okay. So it's all going to work together beautifully. These next few days are you really like putting the energy forward and manifesting. And then the few days after, from the 21st to the 24th, is you really getting the revelations and having the desire to do. We can't forget that Scorpio is ruled by Mars, the planet of action, right? So again, that desire to do the work to be able to manifest what it is that you want to manifest in the areas of love and finances. And I know that y'all know I'm very big on, like, when we talk about abundance, abundance is not just about money, right? You can have an abundance of any type of energy. An abundance is just about having a large amount of, right? But when we're talking about this divine flow with Libra, this air, right? And then we're talking about the divine flow with Scorpio in that water, we have to understand what divine flow looks like, right? So if you want to have an increase of divine flow in love, you want to have an increase of divine flow in finances, what does divine flow look like for you? And that's something that you have to decide. What does it look like to be in divine flow in those areas? So when you think about divine flow of money, if you think about divine flow of love, if you think about divine flow of any type of energy you want to be abundant in, what does it look like for you? and really decide that. And again, I can't say enough. These next few days, you are in that Libra energy. So this is what you should be thinking over. And then Scorpio is we're going to decide and we're moving in it, right? Again, that Mars action energy, that water energy, we're moving in that flow. So think over for these next few days about what divine flow looks like for you. And then after the shadow, excuse me, not after the shadow period, but after the peak, when we are still in the shadow period and we're in that Scorpio energy, that's when you're going to start to take action and really make the final decision and move in that decision, move in that divine flow. Now, I have to say this because, again, I can't talk about Libra and Scorpio energy without acknowledging the flow over and over, because that's what these two signs have in common, right? What's going to be important to understand when we're talking about this flow, I need everybody to study the divine flow of the universe. To get a deeper understanding of what divine flow looks like for you, you need to study the divine flow of the universal all. So this is going to be your challenge somewhat over this new moon in Libra slash shift to Scorpio time, right? This entire shadow period, but especially during this Libra portion, I want you to pay close attention to at least one energy in the universal all. One energy outside of your manifestation, outside of human beings, right? Because we are spirit beings manifested in human form. I want you to pay attention. Choose one, just one different manifestation of spirit energy. You can choose the sun, you can choose a bee, you can choose a tree, and I want you to study the divine flow of that energy. How is the sun moving in divine flow? I want you to research it. I want you to watch it. How does the sun move in divine flow? How does the tree move in divine flow? How does a bee move in divine flow? What does divine flow look like for other spirit energies that are manifested in different forms? And that will help you get a deeper understanding about what divine flow truly is. And a part of the studying of divine flow of different spirit energy manifestations is that you get an understanding of reciprocity in relationship, which goes with that Libra Venus energy, right? Again, Venus is all about love, relationships, right? So what is your relationship? What is the reciprocal relationship you have with that spirit being that's manifested in a different form? How are you contributing to the divine flow of that energy? And how does that energy contribute to your divine flow? For example, if you choose the sun, how does the divine flow of the sun contribute to your divine flow? And how does your divine flow contribute to the energy of the sun? If you can't identify that, what you need to be asking yourself is how can you be more intentional about being in a reciprocal relationship with the divine flow of the universal all? Right? So really understand what divine flow means and what it is and what it looks like. And a lot of people struggle with identifying what divine flow looks like for themselves because they can't even recognize what divine flow looks like outside of themselves, right? You've never taken the time to sit and study and think about what is divine flow? What does it mean to move in God energy? What does it mean to move in peace energy? What does it mean to move in the flow? When I study the air and I study the wind, what does it look like for the wind to move in flow? What does it look like for water to move in flow, right? Study a stream, study a river, study a waterfall, right? Study the wind and how the wind contributes to divine flow. And as we know, the wind contributes to divine flow greatly, but how do we also contribute to the divine flow of the wind, right? What is our relationship with the universal energy, with universal all? And really pay attention to what you learn from it, because we can learn a lot about divine flow from other energies. We can learn a lot about divine flow from the sun, from the trees, from the moon, from the bees, from anything, from birds, etc., etc. And especially when it comes to, and I said the birds, and I have to say this, when it comes to being one with the universe, notice that the birds, if you pay attention to the birds, they can tell you a lot about the energy of the world, the energy of the environment that you are in that moment. The birds know when to fly south. The birds know when the seasons are changing. The birds know when something in the air ain't right and something is about to happen. If you pay attention to the birds and many different animals, they have a deeper connection with the divine flow. Oftentimes, it's because they are not plagued with the worries of the world like many other human beings are, right? So, again, what can you learn about divine flow from different energy beings, and how does that shift your definition of divine flow? How does that impact your ability to practice being in divine flow? Okay, so that's what I have to say about the new moon in Libra with the quick shift to Scorpio. But I want to acknowledge some other planetary alignment aspects that may impact this energy, right? First and foremost, we have to talk about the fact that, and I kind of already spoke on this, that conjunct with our new moon and the sun in Libra, we also have Venus, which is the ruler of Libra, right? And again, Venus is our planet of love, relationships, sensuality, abundance, values, all of that good stuff. So that's why I said this is a good time for us to be able to manifest a higher divine flow of love, of money, as well as purpose, because that purpose is going to come from that quick shift to Scorpio. And I have to be clear that the sun and the moon also will be shifting into Scorpio. We are literally at the very end of Libra season, right? So that shift to Scorpio is going to be in divine alignment because our Ori is reflected in the sun. The sun is our connection between our highest divine self, also known as our Ori, and the highest divine source. So a lot of that clarity of how to take action and how to move in your purpose and elevate in your purpose, which is how you will manifest your increase of love and your abundance of finances, etc., that is going to come from that sun, that Ori, moving over to Scorpio with that moon, our emotion body, our divine feminine, our divine flow. So a lot of that clarity of what to do and the ability to take action will come from there, right? I also have to acknowledge the fact that squaring our new moon in Libra, we have Jupiter, which is in Cancer, right? And understanding that Cancer is all about the divine feminine. Cancer is also the ruler of, or excuse me, the moon is also the ruler of Cancer, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon. So we have Jupiter, which is our planet of expansion, in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and squaring. Anytime we have squares, it can bring us challenges, right? But the interesting thing about Jupiter is it's not just about expansion. Jupiter is also about philosophy. So for a lot of us, and this is why I keep saying study, research divine flow. In order to be able to expand in your divine flow, you may need to shift your philosophical understanding about what divine flow is. So that will be your challenge. Your challenge will be to grow your knowledge, your wisdom, your philosophy, your understanding, your education around divine flow in order to be able to increase your manifestation. You cannot stay stuck in the same spot and still want to be abundant and grow, right? Growth does not come from just sitting still and not doing anything. In order to grow, you have to move. You have to put in some effort. Okay, so in order, and again, that's that Scorpio energy ruled by Mars, our planet of action. In order to grow, you have to move, you have to do something, put some work in, and you will be challenged to put the work in to grow your mind, to grow your education, to grow your philosophy, especially with regard to, again, divine flow, right? Coming from that water and that air energy. Now, I have to talk about trining our new moon in Libra. We also have Uranus, which is in Gemini, and Pluto, which is in Aquarius. And Pluto is finally direct. Okay, it's finally direct. And Pluto has not been direct in Aquarius at all in our lifetime. So it's interesting because Pluto being direct in Aquarius, I told y'all before that Pluto is about power and revolutionary change, especially when it comes to major systems like the government. Okay. So this trines bring us harmony right now. And I know there's a lot going on in the government right now. We hopefully, with this planetary alignment, this trine, there will be some harmony that comes from this. There will be some flow that comes from this. I know right now there's a shutdown going on. There will be some harmony and some flow that comes from this that will benefit the people. And I have an idea of what that's going to look like. I have a feeling of what that's going to look like. But people, after this whole situation is said and done, people will be better. The people, I'm talking about outside of the government, the people will be better off than where they were. Right. So for this moment with this whole shutdown, once everything is resolved, and I know there's a lot of like scary talk going on where like people who are getting food stamps and things, they're saying you may not be able to get your food stamps, you may not get this, you may not get that. There is going to be almost like a reparation of sort where you will get more than what they said that you were supposed to get in the first place. So although you may have this feeling of like pause and confusion and loss and feeling a bit emotionally scattered, right? And not knowing what's going on, it's kind of like a waiting period, but wait this thing out. And after this is all said and done, there will be a lot of abundance and flow and favor in the areas of finances. And that's also for like the workers who are furloughed and all of that. You don't have to worry about like back pay and not getting what you're supposed to get. You will actually end up getting more than what you thought you were supposed to receive. But there is going to be some time. Okay. So there's going to be like a reparation of sort. I'm not talking about reparation for like slavery, right? I'm talking about for this period of this whole shutdown thing, there will be like a reparation of sorts. So this is a great thing with this Pluto direct in Aquarius trining this new moon in Libra energy. Okay. Thank y'all. I see y'all talking about to hear. I see y'all talking about to hear. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's get back to it, right? So we also have Uranus, which is our planet of innovation, trining, and Gemini, right? And we know Gemini is our planet, is our sign of duality. When we're talking about Gemini, we're talking about duality. We're talking about also being able to shift and move, right? Being able to kind of, again, go with the flow, but also being certain and stern in who you are. This is one of the reasons why I keep saying this is going to be a good time to explore the arts, right? Definitely take a moment to explore the arts, tap into how can you increase your innovative energy by studying just one form of the arts. I'm not saying that you have to tap into a area of the arts that you're not naturally interested in. What I want you to do is ask yourself, what art inspires you? What art do you love? What art can you pull from? And how can you analyze the practice of that art in order to decide how can I implement how they practice that art in my purpose to be able to be innovative in how you practice your purpose. So for example, right, let's say you are a writer, right? How can you study a film? You may love watching movies. Study the film by analyzing the script, the words, the language, the communication, the pauses, right? The dialect. Study it. You could choose your favorite film that you love. Analyze it from a writer's perspective, right? As a writer, what can I learn about how this film was written? And how can I practice that to elevate my purpose as a writer and my practice as a writer, right? That is something that you can do, right? Do the same thing with a musical. Study a musical. Watch The Color Purple, the musical version. Watch Chicago. Watch any musical, Wicked, but study it from a writer's perspective, right? What did the writers do to execute this scene and to make this scene really jump out? What is it about this dialogue? What dialect are they using in this dialogue that's elevated? That's how you analyze the arts, right? but I want you to analyze it through the lens of your purpose, through the lens of your passion, and pull from that energy, pull from that education. I can't say enough. The key to be able to grow in how you manifest and show up in your purpose is going to be to grow your education in that area. But use this energy of Uranus, of innovation, to really tap into your study of the arts and allow the arts to be able to elevate how you show up in your purpose. Okay. And again, there's different things in different mediums that you can use in order to be able to do that. And I'll give y'all a journal prompt about that later. And then the last planetary aspect I want to talk about is we have a lot of oppositions. We have a lot of oppositions, and oppositions can throw us off balance, right? There are challenges that come by throwing you off balance, right? Oppositions are your 180, right? So you have the new moon, sun, and Venus in Libra, and then completely opposing in Aries. We have Chiron retrograde, Aries retrograde, or Eris retrograde, which is all about weather as well as battles and war. Chiron is the wounded healer, right? And then we also have Neptune, which is our planet of dreams and spirituality. Right now, especially with Neptune over there in fiery Aries, you have to be mindful of very intense dreams trying to throw you off balance, to trying to get you to move away from your intuition, trying to challenge your emotions. Don't be surprised if you find yourself waking up in a very emotional state, feeling like your energy is a bit off right now. Like, I just don't feel like myself, especially again, coming out of sleep. Don't be surprised if you find yourself feeling a bit restless, having a difficult time going to sleep, right? That is that opposition. Just be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. And honestly, this is when you want to get into your herbs that are going to be centered around getting some good rest, right? You want to get into your lavender. You want to get into your chamomile. You want to get into your valerian root, right? Those are some herbs that'll help you get some good, steady rest. Don't stay away from your damianas and your bugworts and your blue lotus, because those are the herbs that are going to intensify your dreams. Dreams are already quite intense, okay? Dreams are already quite intense. You don't need no more. Okay. So stay away from those herbs. Stay focused on the herbs that'll help you get some good sleep. And then when you wake up, you might want to immediately move to your herbs that are going to uplift your energy, because again, don't be surprised if you wake up feeling a little emotionally off, right? Kind of feeling like outside of yourself, kind of feeling like I just don't feel, I don't know what's going on. It's that type of feeling. That's when you want to get into your herbs that are going to elevate your energy. So you want to get into your lemons, your citruses. You also want to get into herbs like ginseng. I love Siberian ginseng. Siberian ginseng for me is like coffee, right? So your Siberian ginseng will pick you up. Maca root, okay, which will elevate that sensuality and that pleasure, okay, but also pick up your energy. That maca root is going to be good for that as well, okay? So just some herbs to be able to lift you up and elevate you, okay? And then, like I said, Chiron and Eris are also retrograde in opposing, and Chiron is that wounded healer. Don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of thinking over or having flashbacks to past trauma. You need to pay close attention to that. Don't be surprised if your emotions are telling you you need to heal some things. You need to feel, release some things. Pay attention to that, right? You need to address some energies. Also, don't be surprised if you find people from your past trying to spin the block, right? People from your past trying to come up and reconnect with you. Exes reaching out, family and friends that you may no longer be connected to, kind of reaching out to you. But this is a time where you will be challenged to, if you feel led, bring some healing to yourself with regard to those relationships, because that's that Venus energy opposing Chiron, the wounded healer. That not having those unhealed broken relationships will kind of try to throw you off balance during this time. So pay attention to that and heal. And healing does not mean that you need to rekindle the relationship. Let's be clear on that. Healing does not mean you need to rekindle the relationship. When I say you may have some reminders of those broken relationships that you haven't healed from popping up, people from the past trying to spin the block, it doesn't mean that you need to accept the spin. It doesn't mean that you need to accept the person. It means that that's happening because there's still something within you that needs to be addressed regarding those relationships. Address what's going on within you. Heal what's going on within you. I ain't saying nothing about let them back. Don't be coming up in here next month talking about you said get back with my ex. I did not say that. That's what you wanted to do. I didn't say that. Okay. Now, before we move on to journal prompts, just a reminder, this new moon peaks on the 21st, 8:24 a.m. in Libra. Quick shift over to Scorpio at 11:42 a.m. Only 3 hours. It's going to be peaking up there in the Libra, huh? The shadow period starts today and will last to the 24th. Now, I'm going to give you some journal prompts. These journal prompts is kind of thick with it, huh? They bad, thick bitches. The journal prompts is a little thick. Take your time and answer them. Don't rush through it. Some of these journal prompts, you might need this entire shadow period, especially the one that's going to be centered around studying divine flow. You need a few days to study that divine flow and be able to answer this journal prompt. Don't rush yourself. Now, side note, let me just say this about the hair. Y'all know I'm used to doing my knotless no boho. One thing about this boho, a bitch be walking down the street looking like a crackhead because the boho be feeling like something crawling on me, huh? The boho be feeling like something crawling. I be on the street like, what the fuck? The hell? Just saying. I got to get used to the boho, okay? I be feeling like something done fucking, you see, I try to be slick with it. I was like, no, feel like something crawling on me. It's the hair, okay? Got to get used to it. Got to get used to it, huh? Bitch be walking down the street, fucking twitching and shit. It's the hair. I promise y'all I ain't on that. Nope. It's the hair. Okay, if you see me walking, it's the hair. No dope. Journal prompts. Number 1, centered in that Venus energy, huh? What triggers your sensuality and drives your intimacy? What triggers your sensuality and drives your intimacy? What makes you feel sensual? Huh? What makes you feel I almost sung an R. Kelly song. Don't cancel me. It almost slipped out. You see, I caught it. You see, I caught it right there. I said, see, caught it right there. I stopped myself. You know what? Let's just move to the next one. The first one was what triggers your sensuality and drives your intimacy, blah, blah, blah. Let's just move to the next one. Second journal prompt. What artistic medium are you curious about exploring? What about it sparked your curiosity? How can understanding the practice of this medium elevate the practice of your purpose? We moved on. Again, what artistic medium are you curious about exploring? What about it sparked your curiosity? How can understanding the practice of this medium elevate the practice of your purpose? And wellness community, y'all know y'all don't need to take no notes. I'll be releasing the notes right after this is done. Third journal prompt. What wellness practice calms your nervous system and helps you quiet your mind or focus on one thought at a time? And keep in mind, that's coming from those oppositions, that opposition of Eris retrograde, which, as I said, that's all about battle, war, and the weather. So we all need to be paying close attention to the weather. But really, this journal prompt is coming from that opposition of Neptune, spirituality, and dreams, and Chiron, the wounded healer. So if you find yourself kind of like reverting to past thoughts of the trauma, reverting to thoughts of spaces in you that you still need to work on and still need to heal. Don't allow your mind to become so scattered or focused on the past that you forget to be present in the moment, right? So what wellness practice calms your nervous system? What can you do that will help you calm your nervous system in those moments? Is it breath work? Hmm. Is it taking you a shower? Is it stretching, body movement, yoga? Is it tapping into your arts that kind of helps calm your nervous system? And what practice helps you to quiet your mind or focus on one thought at a time? Crossword puzzles, regular traditional puzzles, again, breath work, anything like that. What helps you practice mindfulness? So thank you for the love offering, Lisa. Lisa Honeycutt. Thank you. I appreciate the love and may it be abundantly returned unto you. Thank you for your love, girl. Okay. I want to make sure you answer the question. Okay, and fourth journal prompt. What have you learned from other manifestations in the universe? What about their divine flow in the universe inspires your divine flow? How are you going to be more intentional about practicing reciprocity with that energy? I know that was a lot, but that comes from studying the divine flow, what I talked about earlier, studying the divine flow of other energies. One more time. What have you learned from other manifestations in the universe? What about their divine flow in the universe inspires your divine flow? How are you going to be more intentional about practicing reciprocity with that energy? And again, this is the journal prompt that I'm saying you might not want to try to answer this one until closer to the end of the shadow period, because from today moving forward through the peak, you should be choosing an energy that you want to study the divine flow of. Study via research as well as through empirical studies, right? Through personal experience of watching them, seeing them, observing them, right? Pay attention to their divine flow and ask yourself, what can I learn about the divine flow of that energy? And what is my reciprocal relationship with this energy? How am I contributing to their divine flow? And how is that energy contributing to my divine flow? Okay. Fifth journal prompt. When you consider divine flow, what does that feel and look like for you? How does divine flow manifest for you financially, in your love life, in your mindset, and beyond? What does divine flow look like in the mind? What does divine flow look like with your money? What does divine flow look like with your love life and your energy of love? What does divine flow look like? Thank you, Mohin. I appreciate the love. May it be abundantly returned to you. Thank you for the love offering. I appreciate it. Okay, so one more time reading that. When you consider divine flow, what does that feel and look like for you? How does divine flow manifest for you financially, in your love life, in your mindset, and beyond? Okay, crystals and herbs. Let me get my water. Humming from birds and singing and noticing feelings and following what I feel, not what I should do. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Let's get into crystals and herbs. Crystals, and all of these crystals are centered around creativity, again, tapping into the arts, getting some clarity, that Scorpio energy that's going to give you that clarity on what to do and how to move, but also that Libra energy of divine balance, harmony, and oneness with the divine flow. Crystals, the first one is moonstone for clarity and balance. The second one is opal for creativity and artistic elevation. The third one is black tourmaline for protection and divine guidance. The fourth one is kunzite, or some people say kunzite. I don't like to say kun, nothing. Huh? So I say kunzite. Kunzite elevates connection with the soul, with your Ori. Again, following your soul purpose, manifesting an elevation of the practice of your soul's purpose. And the fifth one is citrine for spiritual growth. Okay, running back through them again: moonstone, opal, black tourmaline, kunzite, and citrine. Okay. And with all of these crystals, you can meditate with them. You can put them in a mojo bag. You can carry them around in a purse, your bra, put it up your ass, whatever you prefer. Okay, it's completely up to you, but the intention with the crystal is for you to be able to transfer energy, practice Reiki, the transferring and the moving of energy with these crystals. Okay, now the herbs, I'm giving y'all these herbs in this video honestly because I meant to give them to you in the conjure video. And let me just say some things about the conjure video. Hmm. Because motherfuckers want to talk about spirituality until it's time to do spiritual shit. Motherfuckers want to act like they with the shits till it's time to be with the shits. Folk be scared, huh? I did a video because somebody said, "What you gonna do for Hoodoo Heritage Month?" If you're in the wellness community, we always hoodooing, but specifically this month we've been having some hoodoo conversations. Our book of the month is centered around hoodoo. We've been hoodooing, huh? So our hoodoo conversation, which we do on Thursdays, this Thursday I said, you know what? I'm gonna share this one with the publics. I did a video about conjure and divination, how to conjure spirit and how to divine to communicate with that spirit. Folk was commenting, and I had to block a few because I don't go back and forth. I'ma just block you, huh? We shouldn't be trying to conjure nothing. This is evil. This the devil. Bitch, if you're scared, say so. Bitch, if you're scary, say that. Huh? If you a scared hoe, move. Huh? If you're a scary hoe, why you click the video? In the beginning of the video, I said the most important thing you can't be is scared. Huh? Huh? If you're with the shits, go watch the video. But the herbs I'm about to give you, a lot of these herbs are centered in conjuring. I meant to give them to you at the end of that video to say, hey, if you want some herbs that could elevate this energy for you, then hey. And the reason, let me just answer the question. Why would we be trying to conjure spirit? Why would we be trying to conjure? I need y'all to realize that everybody does not easily connect to spirit like some other people, right? Some people have to conjure to connect with the energy of their ancestors. They have to call their ancestor to them. Whenever you do an ancestor altar and you add an ancestor to your altar and you welcome them in, you're conjuring that energy. To conjure means to call spirit down and to welcome them. Okay, and you could conjure with different intentions. You could conjure with the intention to work with them, to transfer some energy, to give gratitude, to ask questions, and get some clarity. Anytime you do ancestor veneration work, you're conjuring, babes. You're conjuring. You're calling spirit to the altar. You're calling them down. Again, if you're a scared hoe, move. Huh? Now, the herbs for conjuring, okay? Starting off with the herb that I did a whole video about this because I learned about this herb when I went to South Africa, right? And y'all know in America, again, everybody uses the herbs that are available in their specific location. This is why with hoodoo is a combination of African and indigenous practices because for our ancestors, a lot of the practices that they had when they were on a continent, they had to use the herbs and the roots that are native to this land, that grows in this land in America, in order to be able to practice what they needed to practice, right? So people wonder, well, what are the indigenous aspects of hoodoo? And somebody asked me to do they said, can you do an updated video on hoodoo? I said, sure, but you got to tell me what you want me to talk about. So if y'all want me to do an updated video on hoodoo, y'all have to be very clear about what y'all want me to talk about. In wellness community, y'all can put this in the Patreon group chat of what would y'all want me to talk about that I didn't talk about in the previous videos. But one of the questions that somebody asked was like, well, what are the indigenous aspects of hoodoo, right? Because it's African and indigenous practices. What are the indigenous aspects? The indigenous aspects are the specific herbs and roots that are native to this land, that are indigenous to this land. We have to use what we have where we are. And if you travel right now, and you are a root worker, you are a spiritual practitioner, you also know that you have to use the herbs and the roots that are native to wherever you are. When I was in South Africa, I couldn't get white sage and things like that in South Africa. I had to use what was native there. Their equivalent to sage is an herb, and this is the first herb I'm going to recommend for calling in ancestors, calling in spirit. It's called impepo. Impepo, and I believe it's spelled IMPEPO, Impepo. And you could buy it online as well. It's going to ship. Real Impepo is going to take a while to ship because you can buy people on Etsy sell it. I'm pretty sure there's other vendors for it, but there are vendors in South Africa who sell it and they ship to America. But Impepo is a herb that is native to South Africa. They use it there to be able to call in and conjure ancestors. It welcomes ancestor spirits, but it also dispels and clear out negative energy. It has a really good smell. It smells almost like sweet grass. If you know about sweet grass and you burn sweet grass, where it has like that herby scent, but it's a sweet herby scent. That's what it smells like. Almost smells like if you could put Palo Santo and sage scent together. That's almost what Impepo smells like, and it's very, very soft, and it burns very, very quickly. So you need to break a little bit off. It feels like soft cottony grass almost, but you need to break a little bit off, put it in a bowl, and you light it, and it burns very quickly. But it's a very powerful herb, and it's used to call in ancestor spirits and conjure ancestors. It's called Impepo. That's the first one. The second one is feverfew, which is indigenous here in America. And feverfew is for protection when conjuring, but it's also for conjuring the higher self. Okay. So remember I said, if you watch the conjuring video, I said you need to be able to conjure your own spirit before you try to conjure outside spirits. You got to know how to call on your own Ori and tap into your own higher divine self before you try to conjure up other energies outside of self, right? So feverfew helps to do that, okay? Parsley here, indigenous to America, and parsley is good to open portals and welcome spirit. Parsley, okay? Do I have pictures of the herbs? I don't have any pictures available of the Impepo, but I could put a picture of it in the Patreon group chat after we done here. But I have a video on my YouTube. I don't need a picture. I have a video on my YouTube when I was in South Africa. I want y'all to look at me now. Look at me now. I want you to remember that a bitch has progressed. My goal is to get finer with time, get better with time. Some of my old videos I look back on, I'd be like, ooh, bitch, jump scare. Jump scare. I was still fine, but I'm finer. My goal is to get smarter with age, healthier with age, finer with age. Those videos is a few years ago. When I was in South Africa, I was somewhere in my 20s, huh? Somewhere in my late 20s, huh? I'm in my 30s now. A bitch is finer, healthier, sexier, poom poom tighter. Okay? So jump scare when you look at the video. You're gonna be like, ooh, queen, goddamn. Glad you glowed up, girl. I did. I look good, but I look gooder now. Okay? Go watch that old video though on Impepo. I do a whole conversation about Impepo. I show the herb. I show how to burn the herb and everything. It's almost like a tutorial. Okay? So you might be able to either type in Impepo, or you could type in TheQueenPo smoke bowl or TheQueenPo smudge, and it'll probably come up. But you'll see, I think the cover of the video is me holding my shell with the Impepo in it. I believe so. Feverfew, parsley, yellow dock root, the fourth herb, yellow dock root. And yellow dock root, we're given 2 herbs now for manifesting, okay? Yellow dock root is good for manifesting healing and abundance. Yes, look at me now. Look at me now. And then Irish moss, which let me tell y'all something about Irish moss. Before sea moss blew up and became like the talk of the holistic wellness streets, right? Irish moss used to be sold when I was living in Brownsville, Brooklyn. I was 1 block away from the Saratoga train station on the 3 line, right? I lived on Legion. Okay, I ain't gonna say the address because I think my roommate still is there, but I lived on Legion Street, right? Literally 1 block away from the 3 line. If you know Brownsville, Brooklyn, there's a corner store right there across from the Saratoga train stop, right? Across the street. Well, actually on the same street, but it's a corner store right there. It's a grocery store. So I think it was a fine fair. I want to say it's a fine fair. Whatever. But in that grocery store, we used to be able to get Irish moss for a fucking $1. They used to sell, because Irish moss is plentiful. They used to sell it for $1. $1. Okay? After sea moss blew up, people started selling Irish moss as sea moss, right? And that they took that Irish moss off the shelf that was $1, and they bought that shit back, and they repriced it for like $20, and then it went up from there. What used to be $1 got repriced to 20. And you know what it almost reminds me of? There's a conversation right now going on about oxtail and how basically somebody on TikTok was like, oxtail is not Black American soul food. That comes from the Caribbean. They were saying that Black American people don't eat oxtail. I can't speak about that because my mother is Black American. My father is Black Panamanian. I grew up eating oxtail, but I grew up, my mother learned how to cook from my father's mother mostly. She know how to cook, Southern Geechee food from her parents, but she also cooked the Panamanian food from my father's mother, right? My grandmother on that side. So she used to make a combination of both. I don't know if Black Americans I don't know if she got that from her Black American side or the Panamanian side, but his point was Black Americans don't eat soul food. My point is, this conversation made me think about Irish moss because I remember growing up going to get oxtails from the butcher, and we used to be able to get a bag of oxtail for $5. We used to be able to get a bag of oxtail from the butcher for $5. The same way Irish moss, before sea moss blew up, Irish moss used to be in the grocery store for $1. We used to be able to go to the butcher back in the day and get a bag of oxtail for $5. And now Irish moss is being sold for $30, $40 in the grocery store. And a bag of oxtail, you can't even get a bag of oxtail probably no more. But if you try to, a bag of oxtail gonna run you about a good 40 for a good 2 pounds of oxtails. It might be more than that for 2 pounds, okay? It's just crazy how once things get trending in the Black community, who's benefiting from it? Who benefits from that? Who benefits from trends in Black culture? Just something to consider. Just something to consider. I'm not trying to go on a whole tangent, but I really want y'all to consider that. Who trends from the Black culture, right? Who trends from that? And it's not that we're wrong for popularizing things. That's the cycle of Black culture, right? The Black community, we find something we like, we popularize it, all Black folks run, and we gonna buy it up. But who benefits from that? The price gouging of the Irish moss, the price gouging of the oxtails. Who benefits from that? Something to consider. But anyway, Irish moss is good for manifesting good health, healing, and money. Good health, healing, and money. I thought so too, right? I thought so too, but I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is where we have to, this is something I want people as a whole to start doing. You have to remember that just because your family did or did not do it does not mean that your family speaks for the culture, right? I recognize that my family, even when I moved down south, right? When I moved to Augusta, Georgia, as a teenager, my family in Augusta was not cooking oxtails, but that doesn't mean that no Black Americans eat oxtails. What my family does not speak for all Black Americans. And I think that what that brother was doing, he's assuming because his family didn't eat oxtail, that no Black Americans ate oxtail. I'm pretty sure, as you just said, Sister Queen, there's a lot of Black American people who grew up eating oxtail, right? Just because your family ain't do it, don't mean everybody ain't do it. We got to stop thinking that our experience is the only experience. And that's where doing your research and, in the words of Fredro Starr, do your Googles. Doing your Googles comes into play, right? Don't think that you represent the universal all. Do your Googles. Notice how I said my mother, she made oxtails, but I also recognized that she used to cook a combination of Black American food and Black Panamanian food. I recognize that. So I can't speak for the entire, my experience does not speak for everybody. I think that brother, people as a whole need to realize that your experience doesn't speak for the universal all. Do your Googles. Do your Googles, okay? But all right, family, that is our video. New moon in Libra. Quick shifting to Scorpio. The shadow period starts today and lasts to the 24th. The new moon in Libra peaks on October 21st at 8:24 a.m. Eastern time. And then the shift to Scorpio happens at 11:42 a.m. Eastern time. So only a couple hours in Libra before shifting over to Scorpio, okay? So in this shadow period, you will feel the energy of both that Libra and Scorpio energy, both that cardinal air and that fixed water. All the commonality is the energy of the divine flow, but the cardinal air is about making decisions centered in balance and harmony. And the Scorpio is saying, act on those decisions, do the work, right? So, a good time to manifest the energy of love, of financial abundance, especially understanding your code of ethics, morals, and values, but also elevating in your soul purpose. Okay, family, I love y'all dearly. Wellness community, we do have a book club meeting tonight at 8 o'clock, but I do want us to have a quick little chat about the soul line thing. So I'm about to go live in the Patreon just quickly because I do want to get y'all thoughts and feels about this thing. I do. So we got have a meeting tonight at 8. But just a quick little live after this, okay? So Wellness community, I'll see y'all in about 5 minutes. And YouTube family, I'll see y'all soon. Next week, our hoodoo conversation in the Wellness community is going to be about root work. I'll think about whether or not I want to share that with the YouTube live in public. I'll think about it. But the way the folks was scared with the conjure video, I don't know if y'all ready. Because if we're going to have a conversation about root work, we got to understand the root work ain't just about herbs. The herbs is the tool to do the root work. The root work is about working the root, the soul's energy. I don't know if y'all ready for that on the YouTube. See, the wellness community is ready. I don't know if y'all ready. Because the way y'all was talking, this conjure is light. I started with conjure so we could get to the root. Conjure is light, but y'all scary. I'll think about it. Maybe God will put it on my heart. We'll see. Okay. I love y'all dearly, wellness community. I will see y'all in 5 minutes. YouTube family, I might see y'all next week for the hoodoo conversation. I might. Okay. I love y'all dearly, and y'all have a good day. Happy new moon. Much love, y'all.